Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling. Shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where we'll be talking, relaxing as per usual. You might be like, hey dear darling, isn't this your usual stream time on Sundays? And the answer is yes, it would usually be, but because I was busy yesterday and I have literally 0 videos in my backlog right now, and I have no videos currently recorded, I was like, should I stream today? And I was like, I think it would make more sense for me to skip the stream today and actually record videos, so I actually have something for next week. And if I had time, then maybe I'll stream next week on Tuesday for like 2 hours or something, I don't know. Or well, I can't do Friday actually, so probably Tuesday if it's available, but we'll see. Or maybe Monday if that's available, I don't know. Hello everyone, right now in Fawnhallow, it's 2:09 PM on Sunday, January 19th, 2025. I don't really know exactly, it kind of depends on the timing of things, because we're just sort of seeing, I think D&D is probably going to be moved to Friday next week, so it's probably Wednesday, Friday instead of Monday, but I'm not 100% sure, and if it is, then maybe that'll give time to stream, maybe it won't. Everything's a bit up in the air, but all I know for sure right now is I have no videos in my backlog and I need to start recording some, so that's why I'm going to spend the stream time to basically build up my backlog for next week, because it was especially tough this week because most of the videos I recorded basically like the day before. It was like very little time or whatever, mainly because I didn't record much on Saturday. But yeah, what was it, like yesterday, just basically hang out with some few friends who were visiting sort of like nearby, and yeah, we hung out for a while, we chatted, went to a museum, it was all pretty cool stuff, ate some nice food, and today I believe we're going to a concert. I think they might also, I don't know, I'm not going to talk, I don't know exactly what we're doing necessarily today except for the concert, but yeah, that's not for me to talk about. What am I going to talk about today? I don't really know, to be perfectly honest, because I haven't played much of the other sort of games that I usually play yet. Like ZZZ, Genshin Impact are both sort of in a lull right now, because it's Genshin Impact because the next half of a patch is coming out, and ZZZ is because the next patch itself is coming out. So there's no content in ZZZ right now. Like I've basically done all the limited events, etc. In Genshin, there's one limited event which is basically like this pretty tough boss battle, mind you. And I'm just saying, at first 3 bosses just seems like a Mavuika check, but if you have her or not, maybe that's because she just does a lot of easy damage, but I don't know. We'll see. I said I was going to play it with a friend to see, because you can do it co-op or whatever, but I don't know. Maybe that won't happen. Maybe people just end up playing Valorant instead. Not that I have any complaints against that or anything. But yeah, what am I talking about? We can talk about the fact that TikTok or whatever got banned in US. It's not really much for me to say about that, because I don't really use, well, I don't use TikTok. I don't mean that necessarily to besmirch it. Like, I'm not gonna like pretend I'm sort of holier than thou, be like, oh, I don't use TikTok because I think it like collects all my data unfairly, and then like proceed to open up like Twitter or like Instagram or something, as if that somehow resolves me from all of that. What I do find quite amusing is the fact that what's it called? Red Note, right? Is that what it's called? Red Note, but the Chinese alternate social media app, which is called Red Note in the West, but in Chinese it's called Xiaohongshu. I'm not sure if that's the actual right term. Little Red Book, which means Little Red Book instead of Red Note. So when I first saw it, I was like, oh, is this like a competitor to Little Red Book or Xiaohongshu? Let's see, Xiaohongshu, Xiaohongshu. Anyway, sorry. You know me, my tones in Chinese often, I'm just like, I doubt them a lot, because they're just sort of like, what are they? I don't know. I just sort of randomly get the vibe when I'm trying to say the word. And sometimes you get it wrong. And then it's like, no. Anyway, not the point. Little Red Book. That is the Chinese. Oh, I know it's a social media app. I don't actually know like what equivalent it is. I assumed it was equivalent of like Twitter, with like Instagram Reels. But I'm not actually sure exactly how it replaces it. But anyway, apparently people are migrating from TikTok to that, so I assume it must be a TikTok equivalent, which is even more confusing because China has a TikTok equivalent called Douyin, which I don't know the tones on that as well, actually. Let's see. Douyin. I assumed it was 2 flat tones, but I actually don't know if that's true or not. Let's see. Douyin. Okay, no, it's a third tone and flat tone, sorry. Mandarin lessons with Dear Darling, not going well. Anyway. But yeah, Little Red Book, and I don't use either of these, so I don't use TikTok or Little Red Book. Again, not for like a holier than thou situation. Like obviously I use Reddit, and that's probably like taking my data or whatever. I'm not so brazen enough to believe that if a product is free, I am not the product. That is almost always the case in one form or another. But yeah. The thing I was going to say about it is the fact that I think it's very cute in a sense. Because people are, obviously because TikTok is like banned in the US for whatever reason, we're not going to go into that. But then like people will be like, oh, start migrating, like almost as in like a sticking it to the man or something. Case of, because people were worried. Like I think one of the major proponents or something behind TikTok being banned, it was like, oh, it's because the Chinese companies are like harvesting your information, which I don't know if that's necessarily true or not. You know, I'm not here to like raise conspiracy theories, etc., etc., especially after the whole Meta ordeal, right? But it's sort of as a middle finger where they're just like, oh, you know, well, okay, if you're taking my data on TikTok, then I'll go to the Chinese app instead. But the thing I think which is so adorable from it, and really I suppose it shows us how we're all humans in the end, right? Is the fact that the bonds that people are making, sort of like this cross, as they say, a bit of a great firewall, between like the Americans and the Chinese, where, you know, they're all, I guess we can all say that everyone online are memers at heart or something, because they're just like, people are just having a good time making jokes, etc., etc. People being like, where's my appointed Chinese spy, and like the Chinese citizens also like playing, or netizens as they like to say, are sort of playing along with it as well. It's just like, I don't know, obviously I guess humor is quite a transcendental sort of form, you know, but you know, there's many things which transcend language, culture barriers, etc., etc., you know, music of course being one, and I guess to a certain extent, comedy. And I guess, you know, to look at this in the most sort of least dystopian light, you know, it's nice to see, you know, these bonds, and, you know, show that despite everything, that we are all sort of humans at heart, right? Being able to enjoy silly things here and there, being able to play along with each other's jokes and that sort of things, and share, you know, across culture, across language, through barriers. And especially with the advent of translation tools being even better, you know, language becomes, I suppose, less and less of an issue. I said this before, but like there's been plenty of time, like growing up, going on holidays into other countries and like not being able to speak the language, as of, you know, everyone does their best to communicate, right, using gestures, using understanding of context, etc., etc. But it's crazy now that you can just, you know, not speak a language, and then like you can have a serious conversation with someone just by using Google Translate. Like it happened when we went to Spain. Do we know Spanish? No. I didn't partake much in this because it was about renting out the caravan, and it was about like cars and stuff, and I was like, okay, I legit know nothing about this. You lot got this. I'll just watch like our bags out in the car park. And apparently we just went back and forth using Google Translate to like talk about things, and it was just like, it was perfectly flawless just to sort of like have a conversation. And it's just like, it's incredible, isn't it? Like that sort of transcending of barriers. So that's why I say to put things in the most positive like possible. It's nice to see that, like, people, even obviously it's a very annoying situation, it's all of it is like, I suppose, you know, from many different angles, very strange, annoying, weird, dystopian to certain degrees, but but I suppose there's a light still shining with the fact that people can still have these like sort of nice moments with each other, showing them the joys and whatever of just being silly on social media, really. And yeah, I don't think I really had a grand point to make here or anything. It just sort of, I don't know, like I saw people like sharing like screenshots of like exchanges and they're having on there, and I was just like, this is cute. You know, that kind of warms your heart, doesn't it? In a way, you're just like, oh, why not have things? Why can't things be like this all the time? But yeah, am I gonna plan to move to Xiaohongshu? Hong? Xiaohongshu? Xiaohongshu? It doesn't sound right when I say it. Xiao. I mean, that sounds right. Xiao. Hong. Xiaohongshu. 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 How does Google Translate say it? I feel like I'm saying, like, I don't know, like, I feel like the way I'm saying it doesn't sound natural in my head. But I think I'm also overthinking it, like semantic satiation, when like you say a word so much that it doesn't sound like a word anymore.
小红书
Xiaohongshu. I mean, that's basically the way I was saying it, so I don't know. I think I'm overthinking it at this point. Anyway, not the point. Am I gonna migrate to that? No, not really. I don't really have a plan to, like, the only social media I think I use is Reddit and YouTube. And Reddit is mainly just so I can get my gaming news, because, like, I'm gonna be honest, you know, do I care too much for Reddit community in that sense? Like, no, because I guess literally no, because I don't interact with it. But I care about it as like an aggregation source for specifically video gaming news and other random sort of mindless things. Honestly, I'm having a good time scrolling through Blue Sky. If anything, I need to scroll through. But you know, maybe I should probably like be doing something more practical instead. Like, I was like talking to a friend about it, like, yesterday, in fact, that if he was doing Duolingo as a way to sort of replace scrolling on Reddit, and I was like, you know, that's a good idea. I don't think I necessarily need to do Duolingo, but it's probably time for me to open up the Hello Chinese or Japanese Lenshu apps again, even if they're not, like, necessarily optimal for learning the language. Very good refresher, and honestly, you know, good for vocab, which is kind of the main part. Oh, I don't even know what my Lenshu login detail is. I don't remember what email I used to sign up for this. So that's something I should probably do. Just like a sort of like a minus thing where I'm just like, oh, do I want to scroll on Reddit? And the answer is no. I'm gonna open up Hello Chinese or Lenshu as well. Okay, so I use this email to sign up for Lenshu. I have no idea what I would have done as my password. I'm gonna assume it's this. Yeah, okay, that's right. But the thing I remember from Lenshu is it was incredibly difficult because a lot of the words where I was just like, this is like complicated words, which I do not remember. But yes, anyway, keep that open, and then at some point maybe I'll do that when I just need something to pass the time, you know? Sometimes that's how it goes. I also have 2 unread emails. My Papa John's account? I didn't even realise I had a Papa John's account. Unsubscribe from this. Like, get me out of here. 2 unread emails, but I don't know what they are. Unread. What? Google, how do I filter by unread emails? No thanks. I don't know, I guess I'll just scroll until I see them. Seems a little bit excessive. Oh, I can unmark those. I have a feeling I know what one. Anyway, that's not the point. Why am I here reading my emails in Animal Crossing? I don't know. I guess it's cool to see sort of like transcending language barrier sort of things. It reminds me of like there used to be a thing in League of Legends where a user who was presumably both fluent in Mandarin and English, and also understood the context behind it for like all the terminology of like online slang, and also played League of Legends, used to do these things during the World Championship in League of Legends, where they would post like, oh, here are Chinese reactions to the games on their equivalent of Reddit, which I can't remember what it's called. Like, no, wait, I think 2 people did it. Some people did it for the Chinese one, which I think they did from Weibo, I'm not sure. And some people did it with the Korean Reddit equivalent, which is called like Inven, I think. Let's see. Korean Reddit. Well, I could just search Inven, I guess. Inven. Is that it? No. It's something like that. Korean social media. It is Inven. And then, what's a Chinese Reddit equivalent? Baidu? No. No way. Dear God, what? 注射鲜瓜. Del Tieba. Yeah, that's it. That sounds right. No. Baidu Tieba? That's not. That's just a familiar name. I'm not sure. I can't remember what site we used. Maybe it was Tieba. Maybe it was Baidu. Anyway, not the point. The point is they would translate sort of like the top posts from like the post-match discussions on the certain games, and a lot of them of course would be like memes being like, oh, this team is doing terrible or whatever, and I don't know, but they're just sort of like all like in jokes. And a lot of the English crowd, of course, the Western crowd were just like, oh, it's quite funny, you know, blah 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 blah. And then apparently they did the same thing on the Chinese social media forums, where they translated a lot of like the English posts as well to them, and then like there was like a sort of back and forth exchange where it was very honestly very heartwarming and sweet. I mean, like, human connection is a very sweet and nice thing, isn't it? So I don't see why it wouldn't be, to be perfectly honest. But it doesn't seem like it's something which should be full of criticism. It just sort of is a nice thing, isn't it? A nice thing to see people be able to... Oh, those are the thing. I've starred them. I'm very smart. It's just like a very nice thing to be able to see people... I need to like unstar some of my emails. Like, I don't need all these Paris trips ones anymore. Yeah. What else was I going to say about this? I'm not sure, but it's this sort of thing where it's like, I don't know how else to put it, except for it's nice to be able to see the sort of like peak. While language can usually be a barrier, you know, the people who sort of like bring down the walls and the barriers between, you can sort of just see like, oh yeah, of course they're just like us, you know, well, like, you know, why wouldn't they be? People are just human all over the world. People are going to come up with jokes. People can kind of come up with their own sort of... I mean, like, I feel like it's a bit weird because I'm using online spaces, so it feels a bit sort of anticlimactic to go on this whole thing about how it's great, like, this connection that can be made around the world and this unity which people can find within each other, and be like, oh yeah, people share the same memes or come up with their own memes. But that's the sort of thing where it's like, you know, I mean, I guess it is, like, meme culture is like a thing, the modern... I'm not sure. How would you describe meme culture? It's like, it's not really a media form per se, but it's more like a way to express media or something. I don't know. They're all more like very much inside jokes of a certain community, right? So I'm not going to say they're necessarily a bad thing. Are they necessarily the highest brow of entertainment in the world? No, of course not. But they're not meant to be. I mean, they're just the same way that you would say just like a funny joke to your group of friends. You're not being like, oh, I'm going to go up to like Live at the Apollo and say this comedy routine out loud. It's just more of a sort of thing where it's like, oh yeah, I just wanted to share this, like a nice thing that would make my friends laugh or something. It doesn't need to be any more or less than that, in my opinion. So I guess it's nice that there is something which can be shared sort of communally throughout, you know? Anyway, what I'm saying is basically, teach, if you can speak multiple languages fluently, you know, cross that bridge, you know, share some memes. Why not? Engage in conversation. Oh no. Well, I mean, clearly that conversation didn't go very well, so that you know, that's a case sometimes. That's how emotions go and how conversations can go sometimes, but you know, this too shall pass. Anyway, if you have been watching, thank you very much. What have I been talking about? I have no idea. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been dear darling, and licks. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope you see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.